going falsetto.
Oh, welcome to the unboxing podcast.
Why?
Because it's
Why
Wednesday.
are you here?
It's always Wednesday and I live
Why
here.
are we here?
It's Wednesday and I live here.
No, I meant them.
Oh, what are you doing here? Why are you listening?
Most of them aren't.
No. All 28 of you, stop listening right now. All in unison.
Oh, okay.
It is the 28th of April.
Look, I would like to have more likes on this podcast than views. So if you only watch for like 2 minutes, it probably won't count as a view. But
30
if you
seconds.
Like it, okay. So within 20 seconds, we're probably past that. But learn this ahead of time.
Click on it, pause it, then hit like, and then stop.
Yes.
And move on with your life.
More likes than views. That's what I'm all about.
Thank you very kindly. We are...
Two dudes making a podcast. Just two dudes dropping a pod. In a scene, two dudes dropping a podcast. How will these two dudes
never survive? That's in
go off the
shambles.
rails?
You started early.
Well, whatever. Can't put me on the spot like that, Klag.
You said you have a place you wanted to start.
Well, I mean, as you can tell from how awful that started,
You must be really anxious.
no. Well, you might perceive me to be anxious.
Sure.
And want me to get a drug test before we do a new pod.
Well,
You know what I mean? Because you've got to be. Obviously, all drugs allowed on this podcast, except
say
for
so.
Benzos. No, I don't know. Just
Anti-benzos over here.
Yeah.
It's your anti-Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Which is
exactly.
totally fine because he's
Yeah.
fucking boring. So fucking boring to listen
Hey,
to.
Jordan Peterson, clean your goddamn room,
Clean your
motherfucker. I seen that video.
I've seen it too.
No, what I wanted to say about drug testing
Mm.
is
Were you randomly drug tested recently?
I wasn't. No, I mean I've been, and for my current job, I do get drug tested. Once a year. It's it's not THC. So,
Once a year.
whatever. Yeah,
Once a year.
randomly. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. About it could be more. Up to 4 times a year.
It just doesn't sound very thorough.
Well, it's
Like once a year doesn't sound like
kind
enough.
of what I want to talk about.
Okie doke.
But, I mean, in order to work it where I live, you have to be drug tested first, like before you're even hired. And then, like, once a year you have a random drug test and blah, 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 whatever. This is not me talking as my work, but it's also kind of because, like, one, if you could do the job, who fucking cares? Like, let's just start right there.
Okay.
If you could do the job, who fucking cares, right?
But shouldn't you be okay? Like I mostly agree with that.
Yes. I mean, obviously there are outliers.
That's why you say, who cares about like getting high? Or, like who really gets like overly stoned
Mhm.
at their job? I mean, I guess that you could.
Of course. I mean, of course you could.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. But
So the only rebuttal I have to this, I was okay. You know what? Get to your thing. I got a thing about
Okay.
what you're saying.
well, the
there.
whole point is like, if you can do your job, who fucking cares? Like, really, why companies drug test is because like, oh, they don't want drug addicts working at their place, so they don't steal money for more drugs. It's not usually your moment-to-moment actual work, right? It's the.
I don't think they consider it. No.
Yeah,
I think they only think about well, they must think about those two things. One, if there's an image involved.
Mm-hmm.
Two, when they are like what type of drug is it that you're
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
most of them go weed and
Yeah. Well, I mean, again,
you
the
can
whole.
find weed.
the-
You can just like discover it somewhere.
well, here's the thing: if you do a bad job,
Yeah.
whether you're on drugs or not,
Fair
they're gonna
enough.
fire you.
Okay.
Right? If you're just bad at your job.
Yeah. But if they just find out that you're on drugs, but you're like top notch at doing whatever it is, why are they firing
Why
you?
are they firing you?
Clearly,
Exactly, yeah.
clearly, you operate at a higher level than other people because you are on handicaps.
Mhm. Maybe the issue there is that when you stop doing drugs, then your work is going to suffer. But the point is that we go through a drug testing, facility. We actually use a place in Somersworth, New Hampshire, that is basically it's Seacoast Ready Care. It's kind of like an urgent care, you know what I mean, style
Nice plug for them.
place. Well, it isn't.
Here.
It isn't because, they're closing.
Why?
Because some bigger health company bought them and decided, close it down.
Okay.
Which
So clear out
shitty.
their competition.
So it's probably, yeah.
But then the people who
Yeah.
own it walked away with like $1
I
million
mean,
dollars.
whatever. It,
Like
the
one-
whole point is, healthcare bought healthcare, and then they decided to shut down, an easy to get to clinic for people. So isn't
right.
that great? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, kind of annoying.
We were
and
just
shitty,
talking about
yeah.
how great Planned Parenthood was last week.
That's true. Yeah, and somebody could buy them and shut them down. So
They're too big to fail.
the whole point is that I've been having to try to find a new place to do this.
New place to pee.
Yeah, new place to pee and to come in and get pee.
No, you're just peeing there. You don't come there.
No, they come to you to get pee when it's the random drug test. If it's pre-employment drug test, you go there to pee. Random drug testing, they come get your pee.
They come and get.
They come and get your pee. They come in and say, "Give me that pee," and you do, or you're fired. So yeah, so you know. Right. So the point is that what's very interesting is I've found myself in a world of just an interesting design, because where I've been going is like an urgent care place, style thing, like a clinic.
Yeah.
And like, they don't care if I need drug testing. They're just like, yeah, you set us up, you pay us when we do it, and whatever.
Yeah.
What,
Very sterile.
yeah, they don't
interaction.
What I'm trying to say is they're not salespeople.
Right.
Well,
They
guess
just
what?
want your pee,
Yeah,
so they
but-
can spin it
but guess yeah,
at high speeds.
so they can spin it
And then
dip
go,
a
"Ah."
little thing. Nothing in that pee. Maybe drink a little more water. No.
It was very yellow, sir.
But
You like poppy seed muffins a bit too much.
So what's interesting is now, in order to find a drug testing place, guess what? They're all salespeople.
Now?
Well, the people I'm going to, because there's no clinic nearby.
Oh, so they want to buy your pee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they
So
want.
before you were just giving it up for free.
Well, they don't want. They want me to pay for them to
Right.
take my pee.
So-
Yeah. Whereas yes, I paid them before.
right.
But now
somebody's
but now-
actively
but
working.
now somebody's just like, what else is going on with that pee?
They're pee slingers.
Yeah. So like obviously, so one of the things is like, again for their pee slingers, for drug testing.
They got like a
is
coat.
like, so the first thing is like I'm explaining like how we do it, and it's just like, okay, yeah. So pre-employment, we, send people to get their pee
Okay.
taken.
So before you're hired, you got to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also once a year we do a random drug test, and we just get that done, and then whatever.
So
Now-
like, could you get hired and then like a week later you get your yearly drug test? Is it that random?
It is, but it's unlikely. But
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it is.
Okay. I just thought I would ask.
I mean, if that happened, I'd probably just be like, "Don't take his. He did it 2
You
weeks
just
ago."
did. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, you narc!
yeah. But
I just flushed it all out by drinking
we're fine.
2%. A whole gallon of 2%. You just flushed your system. Isn't that one of the things? I remember there
What?
was like, what is it, like you either got to drink like 2 gallons of water and like
Yeah,
make
I
it so
mean-
you pee until it's clear and then you'll probably end up passing.
There's a bunch of bullshit.
Or it's
Who
like drink
cares?
2% milk and that ends up like binding because it's fatty. It'll
Yeah,
like bind,
it's
or whole milk
yeah.
and it binds with the marijuana or something. Or
Either way, we're not testing for THC. So
no, you're testing for all the other things. You're
Yeah.
testing for opiates and you're testing for
Yeah, yeah.
like cocaine. And, and,
like
I
other
don't
things.
know.
And again, we more.
Do you give a
use-
shit about LSD?
I don't think that's on there.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's in
think
your
so.
hair follicles.
Yeah,
I heard that
but
if
we're
you
not taking hair.
no,
we're
I'm
taking
just
pee.
I'm just saying nobody's slinging hair.
Mhm.
No, they're saying though that like, cause I remember being something like if you had really long hair, like if they chopped out your hair, they could like look through the DNA
Yes,
strands
that-
in your hair
I
to
believe that
different
is the
points of where like the keratin is that how hair is
That's
made?
hair, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so like the as it's deposited and grows out, you could find like different moments.
Like if you're
in
looking at the
hair.
side of a mountain, different gradations
exactly
of what happened during
except
the time.
it's in
Yes.
hair, which is
Yeah.
and it's
That-
neat.
Do I know that that's the case? No, because I don't care. Because I don't give a shit. Yeah. The point is, I have to have drug testing done for my people to say we did drug testing.
That's the only part you care about is filling the quota.
Yeah.
You don't actually care if the people who work for you are on drugs.
Not really.
Good.
Like by and large, not really.
Uh huh.
Because again, if you're bad at your job, we're gonna fire you.
And your job doesn't. Your job's not like you're not hiring people who are going to be making airplanes here.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Like
It's not like we got to stop you from forgetting that a wrench was
Yeah.
in the fucking transmission box there.
Yeah.
I mean, do you? I don't know. When you're flying a plane, like for the engine, do you like shift?
Yes, you do. I have no fucking idea. That doesn't matter. Let me finish.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, I really don't care. Like, we do it, so we say we did it, and we have results. We did this.
Yes.
These people, blah blah blah, whatever. We're done. Now I'm trying to find new people, and they're just like, so it's just like, yeah, we do this, and they're just like, and this is true, but It's just like, so you randomly drug test everybody once a year? Yeah. Well, you realize it's not random, right? I'm like, you know what you should do? And we can offer you this service. We put a bunch of people into a pool, right? And then randomly out of the pool, every quarter, we take a couple people. We do them. And we do that all the time. So that way it's always random. Nobody knows. Because, if you have it done randomly once a year, randomly, that means as soon as that's done, everybody knows they can party for another year. And, and they're just like, just so you know, like, better this way. And
this is how they're selling you on buying your pee.
Yes.
Okay.
On sell. This is how they're buying me to pay them to take my pee. Remember, they're not buying my pee.
There's a direct distinction.
I'm buying them to take my pee. So, and the pee of my employees. And so they're just, and I'm just like the whole time I'm just like, no, I don't care. I just need this. That's all I need. We don't need anything else. I just want to do it the way I've been doing it. You could really save money if you did. No, I couldn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't sell it to me. I couldn't. If you made more money this way, this is how you would do it.
You start off with a 40% discount.
I can already tell you're not a bad salesman. And like,
why,
so
did he show up with a speedboat?
No, thankfully this is all over the phone. But so just like dealing with this is like, no, I just want the fucking thing. Just give me the thing that I do. Do you have a place where I can send pre-employees, and you could take their pay, and I'll pay you for that. And so they're finally just like, okay, well, we'll talk about the other thing later. And I'm just like, fine. I'm gonna have the same thing, but fine. We'll talk about the other thing later. Right now, I need to be able to send people to you so you can take their pee and do a DOT physical. I need that. That's what I need for certain people. They're like, okay, well, what do you want tested? So I sent them like, this is what I want tested.
What is it, a checklist of things that you pick that you want tests for?
I mean, I didn't fucking pick them. This is what we get tested. I don't know.
No, but I'm saying that
but
there's
yes.
like electives
Yes.
to test for and pee?
Yes. So here's the thing. And here
I'd like to know about them.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I send them. I don't fucking remember what they are. It's a list. It's a 12 rapid. It's called rapid 12 testing. No THC. Blah, blah, blah. So it's probably rapid 11 really, but whatever. Yeah. But so I send them like, this is what I need when I send people to you. And the first response I get back is like, well, do you also want to test for benzos and fentanyl? Those are very popular right now. They didn't say benzos. They said the full name, but
benzodiazepine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't you also want it? Because those drugs are very popular right now. And just the way they just said it. And I'm just like looking at it like, no, I just want the thing. I don't care. I just want the fucking thing. Do what I tell you to do.
Who's just doing like?
I'm paying you to take my pee. You're
winning
here.
Doing pure fentanyl that isn't dead also.
Right. That again.
And benzos.
I'm just fucking trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but they're saying like, oh, let's test somebody who's also dying currently.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Spin up for those.
One would assume I would know the deal here, and it's just so insane, and I can't. And I just want the thing. And they're like, well, if you do the rapid, that's really just a test. They can't even tell what one they're finding. They can just only find that one was taken. So you should probably do the lab ones. I'm like, no, we do the lab ones if something comes back. We don't if nothing comes back. Like, yeah, but it's really not that accurate. I'm like, just fucking do the thing I'm telling you to do. Do the thing.
This reminds me of.
I don't care about drugs.
This reminds me of like. I took my cat to the vet.
I didn't hire a tweaker, okay? I would notice by now.
Took my cat to the vet. Cat's dying.
I check all their teeth. No, like a fucking horse we got in there. No.
So the cat's on its way out, and they're like, let's test for what it is. Let's test for what it is that's like, let's test for what it is that has it going on the way out, right? And you're like, okay, maybe we have an opportunity to save it. But also you may not have one. So they're like, so what you should do is you should test for this thing, but then you should also test for like feline AIDS. And you're like, okay, well what order should I test for them? Like clearly you should test for the AIDS first.
Should you?
Well, because then the cat's clearly dying. Like there's no saving it.
I see.
It's on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, to save
so
money.
do it in order
in order of
severity or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting at. Is just saying.
It's probably cancer, but you know.
Yeah, right. Test for right. Well, that's actually probably what it ended up being in the end, which was pretty funny. And then they killed my cat twice.
It's not that funny.
Well, they killed my cat twice.
Twice.
Yeah, they killed it twice.
Did they bring it back in some Frankenstein
No.
situation?
So like what ended up happening was they come outside and they're going to put the cat down.
Mm-hmm.
So they inject something into it because they've already inserted a catheter, right? That's what they call the vein. So the thing. So it's already got like a vein for them to put more stuff in. So you don't have to like directly inject another needle.
Catheter.
It's a catheter. Holy shit.
That was not worth it. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god. So they had that installed. So they because it's COVID times, they took the cat and they take it inside. They bring it back out. It's like on the trunk of my car.
Sure.
So they just put the cat in a box. Well, it's its favorite bag actually on the trunk of my car. There's like legs hanging out. You know.
Can hit it with a hammer.
That would have been preferable. That would have been preferable because it would have happened faster than what ended up. What really ended up happening was they go, okay, the guy who's doing it is on the spectrum. Okay. You can tell this because of the way that he talks, because it's this odd indirect.
Hey, we all need jobs.
It's an odd sort of. It's an odd sort of like social interaction with this person. The way they're talking is so matter of fact that it's. And then, like, the tonality of their voice, it's very clear that they're not exactly used to being anything but somebody who's, like, behind the needle or, you know. They like doctor stuff. They don't like people stuff.
Yeah.
So they got no bedside manner. All right? They put the cat up on the thing and then injects the cat. And we, at the time, I was with an ex, so we go through the whole watching the cat slowly. It's like I'm watching its breath go down. I'm watching it like get, you know. So I'm under the impression like I'm going through all the emotions.
Death. That's what
I'm going through all the emotions. I'm like the cat's on its way out. Slowly, the breath gets less and less, and then what appears to be completely gone, I think, and I say.
All right.
After like having a couple of tears
next to it, like,
after shedding a couple of tears, staring at it, and I just turn to the doc and I say, "I think she's gone. I think she's finally gone." And he goes, "Oh, she's asleep. All right, we'll go ahead and kill her now." Woo! He didn't say exactly that, but he said, "Oh, she's asleep. Oh, I'll inject her now." And we both fucking turned to him, and I just immediately said,
"I thought that's what you did."
What the fuck? You mean she's not dead yet? I just went through all of the things. How am I supposed to now treat this appropriately? Now you can't reel back and go, "Oh, all of that sadness that I just shed for taking a nap." Like actually taking a nap. Not the big nap, not the dirt nap, not the good nap, not the long-term farm
We ruined the
visit.
good surprise on you.
Exactly. The stripper came out of the cake too early. Nobody got to say, "Surprise!" No. So then you're like, "Oh, okay."
Poor kitty.
And then all I can do is be like, cross my arms and be like, "So what's in that needle, huh?" You're like shop talking this. Start shop talking the autist who's killing my cat.
I bet he knows everything.
He told me what was it. He just goes, "Oh, well, it's a combination. It's a cocktail of this thing and the other thing, and then now she's dead." That's pretty much. I'm not even exaggerating that far. That's pretty much how that was delivered. And then after liquid death was injected into the cat, he then asked me if we were like chill because he thought I was mad, and I said, "No. I mean, I couldn't possibly be mad at you. What good would that do?" That's what I said.
Fucking cat,
you killed it
twice.
You killed it
for me anyway.
So speaking of drugs at the workplace,
all
right. I've been trying to get new tires in my car.
Sure.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's very related.
It is.
I know, I'm kidding.
It is when you call up Tire Warehouse
and they're
the guy who answers the phone. The guy who answers the phone is just, "Hello. Good morning. This is Tire Warehouse. What can I do for you? And you listen to the man talk to you as you ask him some questions.
You
and
say, I want fucking tires.
I said, I would like some.
You?
Exactly. I would like some tires. Would you please tell me what those tires would cost? What's the car? Tell him the car. Okay. What tires go on that car? And I said,
I don't know.
I said, don't you have a computer that you can like type in the car and find out what the tires are? And he goes, yeah. He goes over and he does the thing, tells me a number, and the entire time just thinking to myself, like, how many did you take today? How many? And what's it like putting tires on people's cars when you don't know how tight the bolts are actually supposed to stop at?
And hopefully he's not the one doing it. He's just the guy man.
He's just the guy who takes the phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but like that would be one of the instances where you'd be like, okay, maybe some of these, maybe somebody on drugs in certain situations would be like, all right, like mechanics or something like that. Like, I don't know, you lost your feel for pain, so how are you supposed to know where the thing stops? But then maybe it is that they're tightening it down even better. Maybe they're doing a better job because the pain stops later than how it would for somebody else if they were torquing on it, though I know that they're using an air gun, so like what the fuck.
I just realized
not quite that route, you know. What?
And that is, I have two things to say.
All right.
One is just a simple fact that every single person who works in a retail establishment doesn't want you there.
They don't want to be there, and they don't want you to be there.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
What does that say about retail?
What does that say about capitalism? It's just like one would think you'd want people who work at a place that want business.
The only time that I was ever drug tested was at a Target. Was working for Target.
Oh, I thought you just walked in.
No, they would they would make you go and get tested. So they made you go get drug tested, and you're like, well, fuck. The moment I was behind the cash,
at Target. What the fuck?
The moment I'm behind the cash register, I'm like, fucking, why would you stop anybody from making this easier? Why?
Because you could steal the money out of the register.
You would know.
It's nowhere near.
You're gonna know immediately.
I know.
And exactly, it's like what, $300-$400 compared to $1 million company. Like, how much of a loss is it really?
It isn't.
No, it isn't. Exactly. And also, all of the people there were doing road
drugs
sodas
anyway.
the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
Because how else are you supposed to deal with working at fucking Target?
You can't. You can't.
Oh, stand here at this cash register and don't try and put your knee up or anything like that to make it so your back pain is alleviated just a little bit. Because you're standing in one square and you have to stand in that square and then also go fast for no reason.
I do remember I worked at TJ Maxx for one of my first jobs for like 3 weeks or something like that. Because I got a job at Quiznos and that was cooler.
Yeah, way cooler.
It is. But I do remember that the thing is, at TJ Maxx, you had a register and an area.
Mm.
So what that meant was
somewhere out on the floor, right?
Yeah, like toys or clothes or blah, And what that meant was you could either be at your register or you could be in that area, like clean it up or whatever.
So wait, you have the choice?
So realistically, the idea is be at your register. If nobody's there, go clean up the area and make it look nice.
Yeah.
And bounce back and forth.
Gotcha.
But to me, what it meant was like anytime there wasn't anybody, I'm just hanging out in the toy section, just fucking.
Of course, all the weird science toys that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's up with that? Oh, baby's first mixing kit.
A baby's got to learn science quick.
Make real lava.
But the other thing I wanted to mention that reminded me of your tire warehouse story was just the guy's voice.
It's all slow.
It's just slow. And it's funny because I actually thought about this today. A friend of mine, who I will call Steve Devious.
Okay.
Steve Desjardins.
DiGiorno.
Desjardins. Who Stevie D. Stevie D.
Jesus.
Steve Devious. Steve Devious.
What does he tag his name as?
I mean, he doesn't care. He's one of these
tag
guys.
What is it?
He doesn't tag.
No, that would take too much energy.
The point is that he was a heavy metal drummer who I worked with at a Guitar Center.
How could he be a heavy metal drummer who's also slow on opiates?
And that's extra funny because this was his general, hi, how's it going today? And he also had one of the fastest double bass pedal kicks in the world.
Because he couldn't feel his legs anymore.
Like he literally won some kind of competition for being like one of the fastest fucking
That's
double
ridiculous.
bass fucking dudes in the world. It was very, very fucking funny to me. And every time I talked to him, I loved it because he would always talk to you like this. And the reason I thought about him today is I was listening.
He sounds like David Lynch with a concussion.
A little bit. And one of the reasons I thought of him today is I was listening to Acid Bath today, and that always reminds me of Steve Devious, because one time, and I'll never forget it, we were talking about music we were listening to, and I was like, I've been listening to a lot of Acid Bath lately. And he goes, oh, Acid Bath is classic. It's just, I'll never forget. Acid Bath is classic. And there will be another thing I'll never forget. I don't know if he still is, this was a while ago, was dating somebody who was very strong-willed.
Strong-willed.
Strong.
Not like strong.
I mean, she was
arms.
also kind of larger, but but very, very in your face, very, very up, the exact opposite to his tiny, skinny. It's just like
opposites attract.
Yeah, and I just remember one day I was standing at the front of my old Guitar Center in New York. I was talking to my buddy Jordan, who was my guitar player at the time. We're just talking, hanging out, and they had come in for something, like he came to pick up sticks or whatever, or he was leaving work and she picked him up. Doesn't matter. They're leaving, and all of a sudden, before they get out, we said goodbye. She turns around and just because sees us talking to each other, and just comes right on up and just started and what's the problem? Why aren't you guys coming over to hang out? How come you guys haven't been over and hung out with us lately? What's going on? Is there something wrong? And you just hear Steve behind her goes, honey, we never invited them. Because she's just like, how come you guys aren't coming over to hang out at the house? What's going on? You guys all got a problem? And she's like, honey, we never invited them. And just like behind her, just like,
oh my God.
And I'll never forget that. It was so fucking funny. And we were just like, yeah, we don't even know where you live, so it's very good. Very good. Stevie D.
So I have a roommate. But before this roommate, I was trying to get a roommate.
Usually I suppose a roommate could happen to you.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you could. I was gonna say
fair enough.
Something shitty about. Of course you were, but yeah. I was gonna say something shitty, but then I was just like, no. I mean, yeah.
So way before this happens, I'm perusing Facebook Marketplace, and I see a.
Oh no, Facebook is Marketplaces.
Yeah, swiping up and down, not left and right. That's something else. So, I come across like a sweet deal for this Fender Bassman that's been modified, and it's got a master volume knob and a gain stage on it or whatever. Anyway, so I noticed that the knob is like covering the B in such a way that it looks like it just says Fender Assman. And they're only
almost perfectly.
And they're asking $375 for it and a cabinet, which is something that's worth like $1,000. So I jumped right on it and I said, let me pick that up.
Let me buy that.
So I go to this person's place and I buy this, take it home, whatever, regular interaction with somebody. Through the course of doing it, I brought like a drill so I could open it up, take a look, and just, get a quick idea of what the modification were, what's the quality,
What the fuck is going on here?
Actually what it is? Yeah. The price is a bit too good to be true. All right. And in doing this, the person who is selling me the item asked me a few questions about me. I tell them who I am. I tell them what my business is and all that. And they get comfortable with the idea of letting me open it, so on and so forth. But they learn some stuff about me. And then I tell them what my business is and its location.
Oh, no.
They tell me they've got a guitar that they would like to bring by at some point. And you're like, fine, regular old business stuff. This is pretty usual. I buy the item, I go home, blah, blah, blah. Like a week later, they come by with the item that they've got, and they tell me their story.
The whole life
They
story.
tell me that the reason that they sold the item for so cheap is because they need the money. And they're also trying to sell the guitar that they're working on. So me, being a sucker, I fixed their guitar up a little bit more than what they were actually paying for, and then only charged them like $20 for what should have been probably like $80. It was dumb.
Yeah. You're a bad businessman.
I know I'm a bad businessman. It's really stupid. So I was like, now you'll be able to sell this for a lot more profit since you need the money. And the guy's going through a divorce. That's what's happening.
I mean, I think this was obvious.
Okay. But I don't know that he's going through divorce. I am only assuming that he's going through divorce.
Because he needs to sell things, and he's a oldish man.
And he's terrible.
30s, 40s,
He's in his he's just to hit 40, I think. He is selling things for way below market value because the money.
Needs that money, baby.
Apparently. All right. But another week goes by.
As they do.
And he calls my shop and just says, "Would you like to hang out? Can we hang out? I never do this. I never do anything like this. I would never throw myself out there, but I don't know, you just seem like a good dude. Can we hang out?" And you know what? I'm on the phone, but I'm a little bit groggy. I don't have enough coffee in me. And I just said,
sure.
"All right, fine. This afternoon. This afternoon." Because when people spring something on me, I go, "Let's get this shit over with. Let's fucking go." Because you made a thing that's now a thing, and I'm not waiting 3 days to anticipate this shit.
Yep.
Today's the day. Get over here. So he comes over. I give him a drink, and he tells me his entire story.
Of course.
Unloading what's been going on. Tells me that he's going through divorce. Tells me that he's got children. Tells me all of this stuff. And I'm just letting him go, and I'm letting him drink, and he's like, hasn't had a drink in a long time.
I thought Ass Man was funny. It is. But,
it is really funny. I actually, in the process, made it so that it no longer looked at all like it didn't say anything other than Ass Man.
Yeah.
I finished the modification, because if you're going to commit to a bit, you better fucking commit, because it says the Fender Ass Man now.
It used to say the Fender, I think that looks like a half-covered-up bee, Ass Man. Now it just says Fender Ass Man.
So he tells you everything about him, and I just happen to mention...
It's right here. You can't see it.
No, I mean, we could hold it up, but I'm not doing that. So I happen to mention to him that I'm renovating a room that I'm going to be looking to fill. And I realize in saying that now he knows that. But I haven't invited him to be the roommate. I just say it. And he's
Sir,
like...
I never invited you.
He hasn't spoken to anybody about his problems in so long that what he's talking about is like he's having a universe. He's having a universe moment. He's having a moment where he's saying, he's like, "Oh, the timing, what a coincidence that you would have the room available.
Isn't this
I happen to be looking
weird?"
for one."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like making fast friends with somebody, and they're telling you about how it seems like they're being thrown signs.
Yeah. Capricorn.
You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing about like somebody who would like see such an opportunity thrown in front of them? Because this is exactly what ends up happening with this person, and which is so great about having the Fender Ass Man in my possession is that it was sold to me by an ass man. It was sold to me by somebody who is a fucking ass, because they had all of this opportunity thrown in front of them, and they had a room to get out of it.
Sure.
You know, they had a spot. They had somebody that they might actually know, and then after like confessing to noticing the coincidence, to like the path of like fucking like drive to a solution to a problem. Exactly.
The police album.
Then like out of nowhere it goes, "Oh, well, I actually have an opportunity to look at a different place like this weekend or something, and I can't pass it up because of the price or something." And then they go and they did. And then I said, "So have you made a decision on the rooms?" And they said, "I ended up going with this because it was cheaper. Not because it was better, because it was cheaper."
Sure. Yeah, whatever.
Which they had always been like an aspiring musician and all this other stuff, and I was trying to fill the spot with somebody who would appreciate that they could play music whenever they wanted and like practice and do all that shit. But no. So, but like that's kind of an oddity about somebody who would actually like notice. That's why that sticks with me, is because somebody I don't know, a total stranger.
Yeah.
Completely unloaded. Gave me every little thing that I had going on, like trusted me in that way. I gave them a solution to their problem that I was willing to like extend my hand in this, basically be like stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in a sense, okay, like to go that far, go that far, and then they just go, nah.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, he's an ass man.
Yeah, but he built it up.
Who you are?
It was that just like sticks with me.
You were a person that bought something and then did some guitar work for him, and then he said, "Let's be really good friends. Let's hang out."
And then not be friends at all.
Yeah,
ever.
of course. This is capricious person.
They also ended up naming both of their children after famous people.
Of course they did.
Which was one of the weirdest details about this human being. Because I remember hearing that, and
That's not true.
I met his kids. I met his kids.
I mean, that's weird.
He said, I need the kids to come by so that they can take a look at the place so I will know how comfortable they will be here.
Yeah.
Okay? So he brings the kids over and he introduces them to me, and the kids are like trained to say their names.
Yeah.
So that because they have famous names and they know that their names are famous, so the kids are like, I'm not going to say their names because it's going to immediately pin this person. Yeah, sure, why not?
And Geezer
and Bowie.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that was actually one of them. Shit.
Oh Jesus! You could have also not said that last part. You could have not said that last part.
That will just edit it out with no software.
This is Geezer Butler
Geezer
Smith.
Let's say Geezer and Ozzy, and the kids are like, I'm Geezer. I'm Ozzy. And you're like, hi, you said that. Like, you've said it a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. That's a little odd that it's rehearsed and noticeable. And then one of the...
And this is Peavy.
I wasn't expecting the kids to be there. No, I wasn't expecting the kids to, like, need to use the bathroom. Sure. But I guess something that kids do is use the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, like people, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, it's almost like
more
the
than
little
people, yes.
And they all as a unit go into my fucking bathroom.
It's a little weird.
That has a seat that's a little bit fucked up, so the seat is in such a way that whenever you take a shit, it only goes on the back side of the toilet. So you have to have a brush ready to be able to handle that because it's endlessly just piling up.
Leans up.
Yeah, you have to like give a courtesy flush just to stay clean.
Yeah,
like regular, okay. And the fucking little boy goes in the bathroom, and they're all as a family unit taking a piss, well, except it's just the one kid taking a piss, and you just hear him just go, "There's poopy on the toilet." And I'm just left to be embarrassed overhearing that.
There is
like,
poopy on the
toilet. There
toilet.
is poopy on the toilet. Mm-hmm. That is my poopy.
That's and
why don't you use your urine stream?
As you all know, no one else lives here right now.
So why don't you use
It's only me here.
Why don't you use your urine stream to clean that up for me?
It's a game. It's a game.
Fire.
It's always been a game.
Fire. Put it out.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah? Anyway, the Fender Ass Man Saga.
Yeah, that's that. What's the thing below it?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't.
I have nothing to say to anyone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what was, when you were learning to play bass?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about music.
What's the one thing?
Let's talk about music in general.
What's the one thing that you would play at first when you learned how to play bass?
Well, for non-musicians out there, I feel like they need to know when you learn an instrument. Generally, what that means is you're bad at that for a long time. The reason why not as many people play an instrument as many people who want to play an instrument do. You know, the amount of people who want to play and the amount of people who do play are very there's a net difference in there. The reason for that is it's hard. Sucks.
At first.
Yeah. But yeah, of course that's what I mean.
Right.
So usually what that means is you finally, after like a month, you can like learn to play one lick. You know, like one line to your favorite song. And then you just fucking repeat that for hours.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you can do. And it makes you feel good that you can do it. You know, after you do smoke
on the water.
Yeah, and not in the right key, by the way.
Yeah.
You're all doing it in the wrong key.
It's just you just hit the rhythm appropriately. Like,
yeah. But anyway, I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to start off on. It obviously is for a reason.
Yeah.
But the point is that, like, you learn something and you're like, oh, I can do this, and it almost sounds right. So generally, you end up for about 4 months to 8 months, you probably are playing like one riff over and over, and you're driving your family fucking crazy. That doesn't mean you're not trying to learn anything else. It doesn't mean you're not doing scales. It just means you're going to gravitate to this one thing you figured out how to do.
You were very likely not doing scales because most first teachers do not teach you scales.
Oh, mine did.
Yeah? How fast?
I mean, that was like one of the first things.
What? Like a pentatonic scale?
I mean, started.
Or you just do
pentatonics,
a major scale, and then you just go one. Da, na, 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 na,
No, I mean I was taught the pentatonic scale, and then
Why were you taught pentatonic before just a major scale?
I can't remember
because
what
it's utilized.
Well, I think it's like because he was just showing me like, oh, this is really easy, and if you want to solo over like this, here's a pentatonic scale, and here's how that looks. And then it was just like, also, let's learn regular stuff. Here's major, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, blah blah blah. Like here's a piece of paper and blah, fucking do it. And I learned them. I still know them today.
Good.
I know all my shapes.
I was taught this is the G chord. Blah.
I'll say, well, don't forget.
This is the
don't
D
forget,
chord.
I'm a bass
blah.
player.
Oh well, fair enough.
So
sorry,
you don't learn chords.
No, you wouldn't.
They're there.
They're not useful for bass players ever.
That's not true.
No.
That's
not even
true.
jazz bass players use those.
It's not true at all. But the point is, what you do when you start playing bass is you learn the first, the fourth, and the fifth.
Yeah, a nice power chord.
No, that's first, fifth octave.
Oh, right.
But I just mean boo doo 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 doo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The bluesy thing.
Yeah. So
or the bopping and jiving bit.
But the whole point is like you finally get a riff under your belt, and for me that was Schism.
That was your first one? Was Schism?
That was the first one that was flashy enough that I played that forever because, of course, it took me a while to actually get it good.
What was a lesser flashy riff?
A lesser? I mean, so that's the thing.
Did you do any, like, Beatles? Everybody always tries to drive you to do the Beatles.
I did some Doors.
Okay.
Your Lost Little Girl is a good one to start with. One of the first full songs I learned, and this was all on me, not my teacher, you know what I mean? All on me, was System of a Down's Boom.
Oh, shit, I don't know that in my head.
Boom.
Is that off
boom,
of...
Boom.
Is it off the first album?
Every time he dropped the bomb, you kill the god your child.
That's the first
born.
album.
Yeah.
Where they've got that song Sugar and all that other stuff.
Yeah. But
right.
the whole point is that song is just first fret open on the low E string.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, that's
but the rhythm
that
is
entire
good.
song. Well,
the
yeah, of course. But it was just
did
like.
Did you play with a
that's
pick
why
or did you get your fingers involved?
I've only played. I mean, I won't say only ever played with fingers, but I was always playing with fingers.
Okay. So you were learning something about like economy picking with your fingers.
Of course. Oh well, no. I mean that's one of the best things
finger.
I ever learned because of course before I had a teacher, Paul Todoroff, you're amazing, you're beautiful. You're not listening to this, but we talk all the time anyway. It doesn't matter. Not all the time, but
often enough.
Paul Todoroff's a great dude. But one of the first like things that he really taught me, was like because obviously I played bass like because I got it for Christmas, right? Got a bass for Christmas, then played bass until it was just like you should probably get lessons.
Was it like an Ibanez pack, like one of those?
No,
ones
I got a Fender P bass or a Squire P bass. Sorry.
Okay, but it came with an amp and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, the little.
Yeah.
So you got one of the starter packs.
Yeah. From Music City.
Neat.
So when especially if you're playing with your fingers, I didn't want to play with the pick because that's for pussies. I'm kidding. I actually do play with a pick sometimes because
only men play with their fingers.
I actually do play with a pick sometimes because that's also an interesting sound and it's different. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But I am if I were biased, I would be biased towards fingerstyle because it's better because that's what I did.
But it takes a while to get past the...
It's a little bit harder because you're a little bit more motor skills.
But I'm saying that there is... I mean, because of the statement that you made about, fingers is more, it's better or whatever. Mm-hmm. It takes a while to get past the stigma of I'm going to play with a pick because it actually has a particular sound that would be useful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like finding the use in
sound. It took me a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
I
realize it's like a wall that gets built up.
Yeah. No, trust me, there was a literal part of me that was just like, if you don't play with your pick, or if you don't play with your fingers, you're not a bass player.
I've said that.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and that's fucking not true.
It's exactly not
true.
Just
say that right here. It's not true.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. The Schism. Justin Chancellor plays with a pick. Why? And I knew that, and I was still just like,
with your fingers.
Play with your fingers, motherfucker.
So that means the entire time that you're holding on to the idea that playing with your fingers is clearly better, you're also learning from somebody who's playing with a pick.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. Like
you
a
think
shitty
that would break
teenager.
it down immediately,
like
and it
a
doesn't
shitty
at all.
teenager. No.
Cliff Burton was the best bass player.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons
it's too
I played
bad
with
he
fingers.
died under a bus. But he died under a bus twice, though. He died under a bus first, and then they were like, let's lift it up with a crane, and then they dropped it again. Or at least so the story goes.
He won the card toss.
Black ice? You mean a drunk bus driver? That's what you mean.
I mean, they're the same thing, right? It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive either. It could be both.
All I know is I've never encountered black ice.
Yeah.
All of the ice I encountered was clear and reflective.
Well. Anyway, the fuck was I saying? Okay, so one of the best things I actually was taught is because when you first learn fingerstyle and you don't have somebody to teach you, how do you play? You just like pull it,
claw at it, I guess.
Yeah, you like pull
or maybe
a
you hit
string
it with
up.
your thumb. Maybe
I wasn't doing that then.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just like
not slapping it. I just mean like lamely.
Oh yeah, sure.
Using
but
your
then you
thumb.
might as well use a pick.
Yeah.
I mean, but like you like pull at it, dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah.
Like if how you would imagine you play a harp, right? You're like pulling at it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's also not how you play a harp. So, but I just
take advice from me on how to play a harp.
It's how you would imagine one to do that.
Yeah.
And then so when I finally took lessons, my teacher was just like, "Oh yeah, you're actually really good for teaching yourself. Like you can play some stuff. Like that's pretty cool. You're picking it totally wrong though."
Good on them.
What? And then that's where I learned how to do the rake. You know what I mean? Like that was like one of my first exercises where the rake is, where you actually pull through the string and your finger lands on the next string above it. And, so on and so forth. And then if you do string skipping, you basically, it looks like your fingers are like floating across, depending on what you're doing. But like that was like the first thing where it's like, oh shit, this is cool. And I'm getting better. And this is why you have a fucking teacher to like actually look at you and be like, nah, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's like one of the most important things. But anyway, yes, schism was a big one. I played that over and over. Another funny thing, so obviously, it took me a while to learn anesthesia, pulling teeth, the Cliff Burton bass. So, that took me a while.
But you learned it.
Oh, of course I did. Yeah.
Because it's heavy metal.
Because heavy metal. But extra funny, if we're talking about the difference between pick players and finger players, one of the riffs I did play was, it was a Metallica like solo thing where Jason Newsted does this live thing where it's like be-doo-doo, be-doo-doo, like a slow but pretty fucking thing. Like especially when you're that young, you're doing like chords on a bass. It sounds fucking cool. You know what I mean? You're like, I feel it vibrate. And then it's just like, well, that's another thing I played a whole bunch that was done by a pick player, and here I am still fucking laughing at him.
I can play with you play with a pick with my fingers, so I am better than you.
Yeah, exactly. I am the best person. But yeah, and I just like played 3 riffs until I was good, and it took me like a year, right?
Yeah.
What first riff did you play?
Oh my God!
I'm sure there's many of them, but I just kind of mean the one where like your family in the house is like, stop that one. Stop doing that one.
I didn't go with any of the classics.
Schism is a classic.
I learned chords disjointedly and
weird.
It was weird. Like the first couple of chords that I learned on the guitar was like looking at a book and seeing the finger positions and then running into the other room, strumming that chord for the people who were there, and then running back to relearn the next chord.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
acting as if I was actually learning chords. Sure. And then eventually getting a teacher, and from what I remember from that teacher, it was just cowboy chord teaching. So it was just the shapes on like the first 4 frets there, and like they would just tell you that this is this chord. And this is that chord. Yeah. So you go G shape.
They don't tell you how to.
But they don't explain to you why that's the G shape.
Yeah.
They just say it is the G shape. But they don't go, well, your middle finger is on G.
The third and blah, blah, blah.
And that's where you're starting, and that's the root. And you're also playing the octave 3 octaves above, I believe.
Probably.
I think it's 1. Yeah.
Yeah, G. Yeah.
2 octaves above. 2 octaves above, because you're doubling it up on the 3rd fret. Yep. And then you've got the 3rd. No, what is it? You've got the 3rd right there. So it's a major 3rd, and then all the other open, and all the other open notes are making up the rest of it. You got the 3rd, the 5th, and then you've got these 2 other notes that are called something.
The point is, you're not thinking about the individual notes of the chord.
G is hit 3 times.
Yeah,
and then there's a B in there.
Yeah.
Why?
Fuck's that B doing there?
Well, the B could also be what is it? A D.
Yeah.
because you can play that chord 2 different ways and get stuff that fits within the scale of the note that you're playing. Anyways, and then there's the A, which you're like, oh, let me learn that with just one finger because that's economical. And then I can bend up and make it so I don't touch the bottom string or the high string, depending upon how it is that you look at the board. Because I was actually taught wrong. I was taught so many wrong things that I had to correct later. And as far as learning song, well, okay, like I thought that the first string was the low string. And it's the other way around. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the high E, leading yourself back down.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that was, what was that doing for me anyways? But so there's probably a year with
it makes it an issue when you talk to people who know the other way. You know what I mean?
It meant that every book that I looked at wasn't helpful and was immediately confusing.
Correct.
And also, I mean, even trying to read music later in life, it ended up being a problem because it was never a corrected thing. And it took a very long time to just kind of know that I had been taught a lot of wrong stuff. As far as the first riff goes, I mean, I guess that maybe I probably touched on the smoke on the water thing and all that.
Yeah.
Because it is so universal that people learn that.
But again, I just
even if you haven't heard the song, you just learn that one riff and it's the chorus.
And I usually mean what this translates to when I say the one riff.
It's the one that ends up driving your family crazy. And I understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to that now.
Okay.
So what I ended up teaching myself was instead only Metallica songs.
Of course.
Just every Metallica song on the Master Puppets album.
We were of an age. Don't fucking judge us.
I was given a CD for Christmas by a friend. It was a Master Puppets CD in church at a church pew. I was handed the CD, and I was like...
And look what he's become.
The forbidden music I'm not allowed to listen to. Because he had already introduced me into all kinds of stuff like...
The Unforgiven 2 isn't out yet.
No, it's not, which is fortunate.
Neither is The Unforgiven 3.
Wait, no, The Unforgiven 2, it may not be out yet, but the first one is.
Yes.
Because the Black Album already happened.
That was
So, I'm sorry.
Knew that.
God damn it. I'm sorry to fuck that up for you. The point is that the first song that I learned, to completion, was Sanitarium. And I would play that song over and over again.
Yeah.
Probably somewhat wrong.
Of course.
Because I learned it from internet tabs.
It was definitely wrong.
And I learned it from internet tabs. And it was matched up as close as I could to the tonality. But up until that point, all I really knew was just fucking chords. I don't remember. I don't swear to you, there's a gap.
Bass player, it's
there's this wild gap where I just I don't know how it is exactly I was practicing.
It's
memory.
Because you were probably taught by an acoustic guitar player.
That's
right?
Yeah. And I had an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So you just knew these chords.
Yeah.
And then
you don't know their relation to each other.
Maybe when you show up to these
chords.
practices, he goes, let's play this song, and he tells you that's what this song is called.
Yeah.
But you don't retain it because it's not something you're interested in learning.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got an electric guitar, that's when I was like, oh, let's learn all these things.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day that I had the electric guitar, I guess I played with the whammy bar and tried all these different things, and I didn't know how to tune it. It was this whole ordeal. I was pretty far behind, even though I was already in by 2 years on guitar playing. So it must have been a pretty hobby type of thing for a while.
Yeah.
Until I guess I started taking it seriously when I had the electric guitar and I learned the fucking Sanitarium song. And then I was like, let's learn all the solos. Because I didn't know how to play the solos right away. Because that's a big deal for
That's hard, yeah.
That's the big deal for guitar player is let's learn a solo. And the moment you learn a solo, that's when you're like, oh, I learned something special here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is cool.
I do recall playing Seven Nation Army on guitar.
Yeah.
Because that was a popular song at the time. And I'm surprised that you didn't say that you learned that on bass.
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, but
that was one. But
that's the big universal one for bass is to play that riff. And I've heard that riff to this day, in a hallway where you can tell that somebody's learning an instrument. Yeah. The rhythm of it's pretty simple.
When did Seven Nation Army come out?
Fuck if I know. What, 2000?
I think it was later than that.
Yeah? All right. 2004 is gonna be.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up because
2003 or 2004. That's gonna be my guess.
Of course, I played that song.
Yeah,
but again, when I meant to say the one riff, I mean I literally mean this is almost outside of my playability. But you know what I mean.
But you played it a million times.
But I played it a million fucking times because it literally made me a better player while playing it. You know what I mean?
Because I guess that's...
Well, because the Schism riff, it's got hammer-on, it's got pull-off, it's got, you know what I mean? It's got some movement to it. It's in 7/8, you know what I mean? It's not, it's actually it's an interesting thing because like it actually, if you if you just played Seven Nation Army, you're not becoming a better player. Unless you're like very first off, but like once you get Seven Nation Army, you got it. There's no real nuance to it. But
the best that I can do for that is to talk about the first song that my band wrote when we were 14. Yeah, but not a good song. It was just very simple. It just went dun 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 repeat. Okay? That's all it was. That was the whole thing, and we loved that song. It was the best song ever. And imagine that on guitar. And that's just 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 over and over and over again.
Yep.
And it's like that was like an 8-bar. It was like an 8-bar thing.
Yeah.
So
you played that over and over.
Yeah, but then also it's like at 120 BPM. So it's the most average thing you could ever play.
Well, that's what
imagine playing the most average thing that you could play as a guitar player.
I mean, the first thing you're
as
ever
if it's new. Over and over and over again.
And saying, how cool am I?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably, I don't know. Is that...
Muse was also big, especially for bass.
What song?
Muse. Well, Time Is Running Out and Hysteria. Hysteria would have been, you actually have to know how to play. You know what I mean? But Time Is Running Out was like okay,
that's pretty. That's
like
that's got some real jumpy.
It's got some jumpy, but it's just it's very simple. Whereas like
you gotta know how to
was like
swing.
It's like
you
a
gotta know how
bunch
to
of
swing for that.
Yeah, sure. But
that'd be
a
way to describe it. I know it's not entirely accurate, but like you have to know.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a beat. It's not quite right on the 4.
Some dotted,
some
dotted bits in there.
Yeah, but.
Some ham-on pull-offs in there.
But, yeah.
There's some zipping, zopping, and ziving in there.
I mean, yes, White Stripes was good for bass. Again, Tool, obviously.
I learned the whole Master of Puppets album. That's what I did.
I had learned most of it.
And then, but like I didn't learn all the solos.
I cared more about Ride the Lightning, though, because, again,
I got that
Ride the
one
Lightning
later.
and,
I got that one later, and then I was like, well, the instrumentals. The instrumentals are the best songs ever written. No one knows how good the instrumentals are.
Cliff Burton.
That's why we're going to play them.
Because Cliff Burton wrote them. No,
yeah. What's the one on Master of Puppets? What's the name of that?
The instrumental?
Yeah. Do you remember? Because I remember that for some reason was like a holy grail of learning, and I think it was because it was 8 minutes long.
I can't remember.
But then you would learn the bass solo in it.
But yeah.
So you'd learn the bass solo in it as if it was a guitar solo and not know any better until somebody tells you later. Because there's all this like
bass solo.
Because it's like, okay, the internet exists at the time, but you would just come up with lore. Like you would just have a friend who would bend the truth,
something, and then that's the thing.
Because I think everybody had a friend who just bends the truth regularly. So then
everybody had multiple friends. You might have been that friend for you.
You know, I got 4 Segas, like that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
What do you need 4 Segas for, Sven? What do you need them for?
My dad works at Hershey Park.
Oh, does he? Does he get free kisses?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a friend who goes, well, the story behind that song. What is it? It's like, on the Guns N' Roses album, what was really happening? He was actually fucking that lady, and that's what that sound is.
That's what that
is. You hear that? Speaking of Guns N' Roses, what is it? Sweet Child of Mine. That's a fucking.
That's the one.
That's the one riff that ruins my whole day at Guitar Center. Thank you for employing me there.
If you don't know, you should know, and that's Stairway doesn't matter anymore.
Stairway is dead. It's been dead since Wayne's World.
Yep, Stairway's been dead. It's been Sweet Child of Mine for the past 20 years.
Yeah. And
I'd rather it be Stairway.
For a little while, it was that Coheed and Cambria song.
Oh, Welcome Home.
That one. It was. Yeah. It was that. That's it.
Yeah. It's a good riff. It's a good riff.
Yeah, it's catchy. That's why it was popular. And it wasn't that difficult to play.
Yeah,
but
correct.
It sounded pretty snazzy.
Well, it's difficult for beginners, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a difficult beginner riff, which is why it's like, again, like a schism thing. So not like, it's not like that's hard, but it's just like hard from.
Unfortunately, every bass player who picks up a bass in the Guitar Center plays that.
Yeah,
and I think that's the basis.
That's what makes me disappointed.
But that's the basis of like this philosophy of the one riff.
Yes.
Is to know that
Yes.
it is universal through sampling. Any person who's willing to go into a Guitar Center while working there and just they pick up shit and they play it way too loudly.
Yep.
It's like it's very rare that it's like blues riffs, and if it is, you just go, "Oh, it's another Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe."
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's his Korean counterpart, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Why wouldn't that be his Mexican?
His Mexican. Hi, I'm Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray
I'm
Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm going to play the song for
I
you.
used to be such an asshole, and I still am.
Vote for me in the Battle of the Bands.
But when I was at Guitar Center, somebody would pick up and play a bass too loudly or a guitar too loudly.
Always.
Shittily.
Most of the time.
Like if it and I wouldn't do this if they were good.
Oh, let me detune the Floyd Rose.
Yeah. But if they were being really, really shitty, like if they were being bad at what they were doing and too loud, I would pick up a bass and start slapping as fast as possible, like slapping and popping as fast as possible, which,
That just looks like you're jerking off.
Slap at the bass. No, but, because I'm good at slapping the bass, so, and I was just like, just play the most insanely stupid, Claypool style,
even
like
if it
whatever.
didn't really, even if
No,
it didn't
doesn't-
ring
no, it
through, so it could muddy and all that, and it's just like you're making noise now too.
All I was doing was making them feel bad.
Right.
And
you would do it on purpose.
Oh yeah, no, I did on purpose to one, cover up their noise, and B, make them feel bad that they weren't good, and it made me feel so happy when they would leave. Just an asshole.
Yeah.
Just a bad person. Why would I do that?
Because
they were being shitty.
Because they don't know that they're breaking etiquette by having the amplifier up that loud.
No, it's not that. What it is that I always got the impression, and I was probably 98% correct. So I always got the impression that these people were just like, I'm going to go to Guitar Center, and I'm going to play, and I'm going to be so good that people are going to hear me, and they're going to come up to me, and they're going to want me to join their band.
Let me tell you right now, I thought that many times.
I know you did.
And
I never did. I never thought
you are the purest of souls.
I never thought that.
I had an ego.
I had shame.
I thought
until I was good enough, and then I only used it to hurt other people. That doesn't make me better than them.
That's such a wild circle of emotions.
Exactly. That doesn't make me better than them. It just makes me be like, how dare you do this? Yeah.
I thought if I went in there and played like solos from Ride the Lightning or like
somebody be like,
for some reason. I was such an asshole fucking teenager when it came to guitar. Like I just only knew Metallica songs. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And for some reason I thought that was like I just thought they were the greatest band.
Well, they were at the time.
Not even at the time.
No,
it was like 20 years too late.
I felt the same way at the time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I mean, I would have been 2 years before you, I suppose.
You learn all these solos, and you're like Kirk Hammett. Oh my God. And then like I did no research. No, well, like
yeah, I know, yeah.
I did no research into like how it is that he learned all these other things. It's all stuff that I learned like later, and then even then I haven't even like double checked. But I heard something
What a child!
I heard something that was like a Steve Vai, not Steve Vai.
Steve Vai.
Who's the fucking Joe Satriani?
Joe
like it was
Satriani.
like, did he learn from Joe Satriani maybe for a minute? Like I think that was something.
He did actually take lessons from him
for like a year, some shit. Or
doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't matter.
Blows
because wah pedal.
Yeah.
Wah pedal all day. Oh, what's that? Let me make it so it sounds
yep.
muddy and wah pedally.
His most famous solo
is Inner Sandman.
Is famous because his string broke and it made this really weird high pitched note, and then they kept it in there.
Wait, which one is that?
I can't remember.
That sounds like something from the Ride the Lightning album.
It probably was, but no, I think it was on Master of Puppets.
No, there's one. There's one where the string slides over the fret. Off the edge.
Maybe that's what happened. No, he broke a string and it made a weird note, but it did like hit the pickup, and that's where it like made that high, pitch. But
okay, I remember the lore for Cliff Burton's solo was like at the end. It's like the lore is, that sound where it's like all that shit like a fucking goblin turkey is him like pressing the strings into the pickups.
The pickup, yeah. So he's using that as a fret.
So he's
basically
pushing it into the pickup and then making it go all up on top of that with really high gain.
That's true.
No, but in my imagination, it was that he was actually just applying pressure of the string to hit the pickup. So I would try but he's instead fretting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then strumming at that.
And he's also hitting it, so it is making.
It's getting a
contact.
rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like there's all these weird lore things Okay, you know what? This actually opens up a better conversation of just being like, what's the fucking lore behind all of these famous musicians?
You mean Marilyn Manson removing his ribs to suck his own dick?
He actually did do that.
No, he didn't.
You might as well have at this point.
No, he didn't. Yes, he did.
No.
Yes, he did.
Actually, what he did was unhinge his jaw and just eat pizza for months. Also, the beautiful people. The beautiful people.
Anyway.
Does anybody have DiGiorno?
I mean, that is great.
No.
Can you think of any others? Because, I mean, there's
it's
millions
like,
of
Stevie Ray Vaughan plays with the fattest strings possible. So I'll put the fattest strings possible on my guitar and not adjust for it whatsoever. Or saying bullshit like you got to put the fattest strings on your guitar or you're not a man.
Yeah.
Or saying other dumb shit.
Like you got to play bass with your fingers or fuck you.
Right.
Exactly. Like, it's all
but
stupid.
more
it's all
tied.
fucking
But
pissing
let's
in
say
the
more
wind.
tied to like people. So like B.B. King is quoted with saying, "Why would you work so hard when you could put eights on your guitar? So play with really light strings so you don't have to strum as hard." And you're like, all right, fine. But in my line of work, all these myths show up. Oh, he did this, you have to do that for my guitar.
And that means good.
And I say, fine, if you're paying me.
Yeah.
But I don't say, but like you always try and talk them out of doing things that are just like, you don't know why it is that they're doing the thing that they did.
No,
They
you
came
just
to
heard
this,
something. Yeah.
but they came to the conclusion that this is best for me for a reason known to them that they probably didn't ever express properly.
And this other person that they're modeling it off of might not even fucking do that.
Well, also, why are you trying to model yourself off as somebody?
Well, because
maybe
nobody
that's
has their own personality.
And I say that with full disclosure of the hypocrisy that is, I learned every Metallica song and they were the best band.
Oh yeah.
And I will model myself after them and buy Kirk Hammett's fucking signature guitar too because I'm an idiot. Because I did.
I always had an argument.
It had pirate skulls on it.
I always had an argument with my friend Rory because the fight was what's better, Metallica or Megadeth.
That's not a question.
I mean, of course it isn't.
They are two different bands.
But, I mean, you can
with one song that they both plagiarize.
Four Horsemen Mechanics.
There you go.
There's more. There's more, but that's the big one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the funny part is that, like, literally, it's just like, eventually I just came out to it and I was just like, I mean, Dave Mustaine is a better guitar player than Kirk Hammett. But he's just
a better guitar player than
But he's
Kirk
just such a bitch. I can't deal with it. And he was like, I know. And it's like so funny to me. Like, we had this argument for years, and it was just like, yeah.
That was another big song, was to learn all of Hangar 18.
Oh, yeah,
because
of course.
There's like 50 guitar solos
I learned
in
it on guitar, and I'm a bass player.
Really?
Yeah.
But you
I
learned
learned
all
it
the
on
riffs, or did you
ukulele
learn the
once,
solos?
too. No, I didn't do the solo,
Okay,
but I did all the
riffs. And then it was Holy Wars. It's learn Holy Wars because that riff.
Look, Hangar 18 slaps. I'm saying that right now. So that would have been fine for me because I was already doing 3-finger gallops at that point.
That's. And then if you're really into doing bass gallops, what do you do? But you pick up Iron Maiden CDs because that's what that one bass player is known for doing too.
Yep, Steve Harris.
Because what is it? The Trooper is like all gallops.
The Trooper, me and
Run to the Hills is all gallops.
Yeah. Me again, the same person who we would argue, Rory. We would argue about Metallica or Megadeth. He played guitar, I played bass, and we were both better than everybody else we knew. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that
Which
doesn't
means
mean
that you
were
were
good.
the best in the world.
Doesn't mean we were good. We were better. But what we would always do is it. I don't
know this.
Is that Run to the Hills? It's an Iron Maiden.
No, that's not Run to the Hills.
Fucking bum bum bum. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Run to the Hills is
is it the Trooper? It's not the fucking Trooper. It doesn't matter. I can't remember the Iron Maiden fucking song that we used to play together.
Right.
But we'd always one of us would always be slightly off. And it was so fucking funny to me because we try forever, and we're also like we once learned all and did it perfectly. We once learned all of Racer X, Scarified, and Castle Dragon. I can't remember the full title.
For some reason, I thought Racer X was a video game thing, but that's just an '80s band.
Racer
right?
X is one of Paul Gilbert's side projects.
Okay.
So
it was like super zippy thrash metal.
Oh yeah, just
but like very accurate thrash metal of the time.
Yeah.
So it's almost in the direction of like progressive thrash or some shit.
No, for sure. Paul Gilbert's still one of the only like flashy guitar players I like solo guitar players. You know what I mean? Like your Steve Vai's, your Satriani's, your Yngwie
Well, at least Paul Gilbert's funny.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like
Joe Satriani is not funny.
No, he's not funny.
Steve Vai is not funny.
Steve Vai's not.
Steve Vai and Joe Satriani only exist to make 50-year-olds who didn't actually try hard enough feel bad about the fact that they're still not good at guitar.
Like
so they can show up to G3 and go, wow, the same 3 guys. Ooh. I sure do love the same 3 guys. I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to find a different 3 guys.
What's his name? Cliffs of Dover is pretty good.
What's his name?
He's got a boring name.
George Harrison.
No. It's like Jim Duncan. It's not that. But,
Jim Duncan.
But it's just like Cliffs of Dover guy's got a boring name. I wish I could remember it.
Well, you got to look it up on your phone. You can't.
I'm not gonna do that.
Do that now because you got the. Mine's over there. Just do it.
Not the point.
Look him up. It does matter. Look up his fucking name. You can't just walk around here.
Anyway,
not
the whole
names.
thing I even
People
want to
leave
say
comments.
is fucking Paul Gilbert's really fucking funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's enjoyable.
No, I was gonna say Robert Johnson. That's not right. Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson. Yeah, and which is like the only song that's known because Guitar Hero was so popular at the time. You heard it before that?
Yes.
I didn't.
Was Cliffs of Dover in Guitar Hero?
It was.
Because I played Guitar Hero way too much.
I don't know which one it was, but it was one of the Guitar Heroes, around the time that they fixed it so that you could do hammer-ons and pull-offs.
Oh, then I was
because it
not
started off
Guitar
where you
Hero
literally
anymore.
had to hit just the buttons.
Yeah.
I think it was the second one they go, now you could touch the button and then pull it off if you strummed it first. I don't know why people talk like they've had a stroke, but that's the current way of things.
And I attribute Guitar Hero to me getting good at slap bass.
Oh yeah, why? Because that's how you would like get through some of the bits.
Well, no, it's just like I didn't strum it; I hit it with my thumb like this.
Yeah,
because you couldn't do fingers. Like the way the bar worked, I couldn't do 3 fingers because it just wouldn't register all the ways. Yeah. So I did it like this, and that's what because I was also learning slap around the same time.
Okay,
and having that built up my muscles so much quicker than if I were actually practicing.
And a callus if you're hitting solid plastic over and over again.
No, so here's the thing. The callus didn't, so I had to keep pacing myself with how I was slapping on bass because my wrist muscles were better than the callus on my thumb. So while I was learning to slap, I was slapping better than I should have been, so I was just developing motherfucking blisters all over my thumb because it was just like I was going faster than the callus could build up. It was very funny.
I thought Guitar Hero was cool. There was definitely parties.
It was until it wasn't.
There was parties where you went to go and do that, but what I was going to get at is Rock Band made it so that there was an opportunity to learn other instruments.
Like drums, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think there might be a whole generation of people who learned how to play drums because Rock Band was a
100%.
thing. And I took that drumming seriously to the point where, what's the one Judas Priest song that they had on Rock Band?
I don't know. I didn't have one.
Well, they had one Judas Priest song. It's Painkiller. They had Painkiller. And if you played that song on the hardest difficulty, it made you play double bass with one foot because Rock Band's an asshole.
Because it didn't have two
come
basses.
with 2 bass pedals.
Yep.
But they still could to program it so that you had to do it with 1 foot. So I guess they like half did it so that, it lined up pretty close. But that was a challenge. I would purposefully try and play that song as best as I could.
Yeah, as if you were playing a real drum.
As if I was playing real drums. But the other thing is that we didn't know, you wouldn't know how hard to hit those pads because you didn't have to hit them that hard.
No.
But they broke down over time, so the next thing you know, the faces of them are cracked, and you got them duct taped together, just trying to make it, and then they're not registering properly, and you're using real drumsticks.
That's the
foot pedal's sliding away from you across the carpet, and it's also taking the whole thing with it because it's all attached to each other, which it's just like real drums.
Yeah.
It's just like real drums when you go to a live event at a bar and your whole drum kit's kicking away from you.
That's what's fucking interesting is that it's funny that you say that, I wonder how many drummers came from Rock Band.
Well, at least people who took up an interest in drumming.
No. And I think that's a correct thing to say because at the same time, how many guitar players started because of Guitar Hero?
That's a good question.
Probably 2%. And you say that because playing a Guitar Hero, as much as I just said I got good at slap bass from playing Guitar Hero, it was only because I was doing both. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have gotten better at slap bass if I didn't play bass.
But it was forcing you to do a rhythm practice that you may not have been doing otherwise.
Now you've
created a metronome that's just a little bit more enjoyable than click, click, click.
Correct.
Click,
Instead of
click.
doing that on the bass, you know what I mean? I could do it and it could sound better, you know?
Yeah.
But
and then a crowd cheers.
Yeah, okay, great. But the one thing that's really funny is that, like, and I'm not saying that being able to play a Guitar Hero controller is not like, you know, is not like helping you become more musical, because again, it is very rhythm based. You know what I mean? Like, there are certainly things about it, but the difference between playing a Guitar Hero guitar and a guitar is such a wide berth. But playing drums in Rock Band is like 78% real fucking drums. You know what I mean? Like, it's just drums. The only difference is that, like,
there's no rebound.
Yeah, there's no like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like there's no rebound and there's no, like, you know, you don't have the real feel of like hitting it, but like besides that, it's the same motors. You know what I mean? It's like your hands are still moving.
The only
same
way that they
you
could
know?
make it better is if they had it so it was like a Roland mesh kit.
Sure.
That you had to play.
Which are cool.
They are, yeah, they are. So that would be the only way they could make it better. But then the game would be too expensive for anybody to play.
And they did do, which I never played, but always wanted to, make Rocksmith.
That was a thing, wasn't
it? Which was
where you plugged in the real guitar, and that's where it all came full circle. We've gone so far as to make it so it's just an aid in learning,
and that's when it died.
That's
because
exactly
then it became
the
hard to play. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a game anymore. It was just learning how to play guitar.
Correct. Although I did think it was cool. I never bought it because I didn't have money at the time.
I think there was like 2 people who showed up to have their jack modified so that they could do it.
Play it. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
We had a
but there was
setup
some sort
in
of
Guitar Center for a while. I remember, but I never really played.
There was something about the way that it hooks up or something like
because when
it wasn't
first came
registering
out,
properly.
bass
Can you please
didn't work
fix
for
my
it.
jack? But that's because tuners are like too low. Like even a Korg black tuner. Like what's that fucking tuner? I have trouble.
The Snark.
Not the Snark. The Snark reads better actually.
Yeah, I know.
But the
the pedal,
the Korg pedal, Black Decker or something like that. Whatever it's called.
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. Thank you. It doesn't pick up bass notes all that well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like maybe
the Polytune ones do now.
Yeah, but maybe they were using some similar like coding or some shit like that to be able to pick up the notes.
It's so low. I need to ask you something.
Okay, we got make it quick.
Okay, we can stop now. But since we're already talking about music,
sure.
What do you ever say when somebody says, "Hey, you want to go jam later?"
Fuck. That's what my brain does. Hey, you want to go jam?
Fuck.
You want to go jam?
No.
My brain just goes fucking no. What are we gonna do? What do you mean?
I don't want to jam.
Why don't you give me 3 songs you want to play? How about that? How about you do something organized for once? How about you don't call me downstairs, smoke weed, and talk to me for a fucking hour while we do nothing?
If you've never jammed before,
wow,
them out there, imagine not quite a friend.
Okay.
Like, I'm not, because this is usually not quite a friend. Not quite a friend, somebody you kind of casually know, asks you if you want to, like, I want to say get together for drinks. That's not quite there.
No.
But, again,
you know what's laid out there if they say that.
Sure. But I just mean, like, somebody that you don't really know asks you if you want to come over and play board games. Like,
well, you know what you're doing.
I know.
Okay, this isn't working. You're not getting there.
I'm making my way.
All right.
I'm making my way.
You're in a jungle.
And I'm probably never going to fucking find it.
You're a jungle.
The whole point is, imagine somebody you don't really know saying, "Hey, our kids should hang out."
All right.
That's as close as I get.
Okay.
I don't have kids.
You know what? That sounds pretty good because what's going to happen is you both show up to a similar location, but you both also have to kind of figure out what it is that's going to occupy the time, but only for the other two. And then your fun is based on how well those two things interact.
Correct.
Not.
I mean, that's as close as I can get.
You know what? I'm going to give you an applause on that just because it's pretty close.
The only way you can actually explain it is just that if somebody asks you to jam, and it's almost always somebody you don't really know. It's somebody you tangentially know.
If it's a drummer, it's fine. I can do one-on-one with a drummer.
Sure. But drummers don't ask you to jam.
Yes. Well, no, they don't usually.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm making grand sweeping observations.
Sure.
Guitar players ask you to jam.
I don't want to jam with you.
Yeah.
What are we playing? What's the songs? What songs do you already know?
Because
I'm not going to come up with riffs with you that you're going to steal because that's what you want to do.
What that means is this is somebody who probably doesn't know how to play very well.
Yeah.
And
they're just going to show you their favorite songs.
They're going to show you their favorite songs, or what they want you to do is come up with songs so they can say they were a part of it. And
okay,
like I've gone to jam sessions where somebody said, "Well, come up with something," and it's just like, well,
why can't we just Why can't you lay out better? Like, because saying we want to jam.
I don't even know what you want to do.
And then there's also like a social aspect to, hey, can we jam? But it's really like, hey, can we just get drunk and stoned and then
that's also
pick up our
often
instruments and start going? And
that's
there's like
boring.
But there's
I'd rather watch a movie.
But there is a separation of some folks who
Church and state.
only want to show up to these things so that they can just have a good time. They don't care about it going anywhere. And then there's people who, which I suppose that I'm one of them, where if I'm showing up to one of these things, I want it to be taking on a reason, not just doing it willy-nilly because, it's a fun thing to do. Well, playing alone by myself is a fun thing to do, and it doesn't require me to go to someone else's house.
And I don't have to worry if I'm boring somebody or if they don't like a part.
There's no insecurity in playing alone. And then also there's no
there
anxiety
is, but, you know,
and then there's also no anxiety in like the levels of I mean, you have to have been to a jam session where there was just no vibe.
Of course.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to do that.
Like,
that's why I remember being invited by a drummer once. I was like, all right, cool. And I come there and I bring a couple of songs and we start working on those songs together and there's just no vibe. It's
just not there.
No. And now, not only have I gone out of my way to do this, sort of become friends with, it's like, you know what? Like a jam session is like going on a fucking date.
Yeah. It's like going on a first date.
Except that you're like...
Except it's worse.
Because you don't actually need to get to know the person, but you need to go get to know their skills, which they take pride in.
Which is worse.
So you saying no is no longer... It's like, it's just an...
You're now hurting their soul.
It's an equal judgment on being like, I'm not attracted to you, or I didn't like your personality.
This was fun, but you're a little too... immature for me.
Right. I'm sorry, you hit the snare too hard. It's just not something. It's not going to work out.
Because the only time
Jesus Christ.
The only times I've ever had fun during a jam session are when I've had a band practice of people who've been playing together for a while, and we decided to stop practicing songs, and something happened, and we jammed on something. You know what I mean?
Okay. So then something happened organically.
Yes.
Right. But that means that the jam set was
It happened organically with people who were already playing together.
Well, then that's not getting
I
together
know.
and jamming.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
We need to put
what I'm telling you is the only time I've ever had fun jamming is when it just accidentally happened. Because any other time, you're fucking forcing it. You know what I mean? You're just saying, you know what
Let's
I mean?
show up
Yeah.
for this jam event.
You've scheduled sex
feels,
with an ex.
It feels
you've
jammed.
Had,
It feels jammed, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Show up for a jam. This feels like a jam. We both are not getting out of here anytime soon.
Yeah.
What a jam. I'm glad I showed up to the jam.
And now it's the awkward issue of when can I say I want to leave? I'm not having fun. You know what I mean? They're not having fun. They're not going to say they want to leave. What the fuck do we do? How do we leave this situation?
You just say, bye.
And again, that's not to say I've never had fun, like where it was just like a bunch of people got together and played music. Of course, that can be fun.
Yeah.
But it's closer to a blind date even, because usually the jam sessions are with people you haven't met before that like musically.
Nobody prefaces a jam session by saying, hey, here's what I sound like. Let's jam.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, show me your skills. Like, you need a resume.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you need a resume. Like, tell me what you want to do. But that's also the problem. If somebody says, these are the type of songs I want to play, it's no longer a jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's an audition. You know,
and nobody wants to audition.
Yeah, fucking bullshit.
You know, with that, we're gonna bring it to a close.
Don't jam.
No, well, we should talk more about jamming though again sometime.
Jam.
Write us at marklarsmarklarmusic@gmail.com.
Tell us some of your worst jamming stories.
Please do.
I would love to hear it.
marklarsmarklarmusic@gmail.com. It's written in the description there. And have a good night.
Bye. Oh wait, it was Klag's birthday recently too.
Oh, that's right.
It wasn't just mine last week.
I turned 30.
Oh, before we stop.
What?
I released an album last week. I probably should have told you.
Stasis.
Yeah, Stasis, The Burning Seas. It's on Bandcamp. It's on YouTube. Stasis, Stasis. The Burning Seas, TheBurningSeas.
We'll put it in the description, too.
It's pretty cool. You should listen to it. It's fine.
You should listen to it. It's actually pretty good.
Ooh.
Have a good night.
Bye.